If you are in USDA zones 3 through 8, there are 3 things that I would highly recommend that you do this month, even if you can't get to anything else. These 3 things are the ones that I would personally be jumping into. Now, I lived in Michigan when I was a young adult. I was in Kansas City for 17 years, so I get cold. Being up in northern Michigan, we would measure our snow in feet, really, not in inches. The ice was, so thick. So things that I don't have to worry about now that I live in Florida, but I am very, very familiar with the cold climate growing zones and what it's like to farm, to garden, to have animals, livestock, and poultry in those growing climates. So if you're in those zones, the first thing that I would be doing right now is covering my soil. So you've just finished or are almost done with the peak annual gardening season. Things are slowly starting to wind down. Now, maybe some of you are still harvesting, maybe some brassicas. So some cabbage, some broccoli, some radishes, turnips, Swiss chard, that sort of thing. But tomatoes are starting to wind down a little bit. You're canning things up. Eggplants are kind of done or almost done. And to be honest, I was looking the other day in Michigan. You guys have peak leaf season in the next week or 2 weeks. So it is upon us. So what that means is cover your soil. So we don't want to have any bare soil over the winter months. So it protects the roots of our fruit trees, of our berry bushes, of our nut trees, but also in our annual gardens, it's really going to protect that microbiome. So we want to protect the probiotics and the enzymatic action that's taking place in the soil, protect those microbes. So just cover it up with whatever you've got. I mean, it could be chopped up leaves that you bagged up with your push mower or your bagging mower, and you're just laying that over the perennial flower beds or the annual garden beds. Maybe in the food forest, it is wood chips, but it could be chop and drop too, and that is absolutely okay. But definitely cover your soil. The second thing that I would be doing is a fall probiotic application in the trees and the annual vegetable gardens as well. Because really those tree roots, they're active over the winter. They are still sending out, new roots. Now there's no top growth, your maple trees or your hazelnuts or your chestnuts, they're not growing up top over the winter, but the roots are still active. And so that's where we want that powerful microbial and probiotic life is in the soil. I personally use BioEgg by SCD Probiotics. There's a link for that at permaculturefx.com and just click products. But that's what I've used for 20 plus years. And I absolutely love it because it's a lot of different strains of probiotics that are all grown together in one liquid mother culture. So you're not getting a separate strain of different lactobacillus or whatever. You're getting them all grown together. What I like about that is whatever ones are going to thrive in your soil, they're going to thrive. The ones that are not, they're just going to die off, So there's enough variety in those strains that you're going to have something that's going to work well in your soil. So I would be adding that to the soil, adding it to your mulch as you're covering it up, and then you're going to be good to go. The third thing that I would focus on in USDA zones 3 through 8 is depending on what your livestock and poultry schedule is, I usually do fall livestock and poultry deworming. Now, I don't typically use a synthetic version. I use Basic H, the original formula that comes in a 5-gallon bucket or a 30-gallon drum. Basic H2 doesn't work as well. It is still effective, but I really, really prefer the original formula of Basic H. So I do my fall deworming, and usually 1 week after I deworm, I give them their probiotics as well. So Bio Livestock or the equine version by SCD Probiotics are my personal probiotics of choice. So those are the 3 things that I would be focusing on in the month of October. If you're in USDA zones 3 through 8, cover your soil, fall probiotic application, and the fall livestock deworming and giving them their microbes back in their guts. So hopefully that's helpful.